Welcome to Inspired Vinyasa. My name is Sandra. We are standing up for this class. So will you take your feet a little wider than the hips so we feel very secure? And then I want you just to take the shoulders up and back, soften them on the way down, shake out the arms a little bit. And then taking your focus down into the soles of the feet. I want to work our way from the soles on up to the crown. So, and you can look down, that's fine, or you can close your eyes. But I want you to pick up the toes, spread them wide, and then set them down gently as if you were trying to grip the mat slightly. And then as you feel like the four corners of the feet pushing down, making even contact with the earth, I want you to see what it feels like to energetically perhaps, or physically, lift the arches of the feet. Now draw that energy up through the legs. You should feel like you're lengthening, like you're getting taller. Up through the hips. Take your way up through the chakras. Yeah. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Crown of the head, reaching upwards. And then just make sure that that jaw isn't jutting forward. So pull it back slightly. All right, now that we've said all that, let's take the shoulders up one more time and then back and down. This should feel like a very stable mountain pose. So close your eyes here. Give me a deep inhale through the nose. Loud exhale. Inhale, take both arms up. Bring the palms together and then exhale them home to your heart. We're going to pause right here to set an amazing intention for your practice and beyond. And now when you're ready, release the arms down, slight bend into the knees, and then you can round your way forward if you want. I'm not going to be too picky about this. Come on forward into a very gentle fold. So I'm keeping the knees softly bent. I want you just to add some movement here. You might then just kind of walk out the legs, bend one knee, then the other. And then we'll just slowly make our way right back up. Taking your time, relaxing the shoulders. Inhale that right arm up. Take that side bend to the left. Both hands reaching in the direction in which they're moving. And then slowly come back to center, release that right arm down. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale to the right. So, if your body is feeling a little bit stiff and stuck, that is perfect because our theme is going to kind of take us down a path about, well, yeah, what do we do when we're stuck, but more in life. So we're talking about a poem, a pretty well-known poem actually, called Preface to a 20-volume suicide note. Go ahead, come back up. Release the arm. Doesn't sound super cheery, but we'll figure out what it's all about when we get there. Take the arms back up, palms together, release them to your heart. Okay, so from here, I just want to bend back into the knees, release my hands down just above the knees or, on the thighs. And let's find our seated cat-cow. I'm actually going to turn my hands the other way. So inhale, lengthening the spine, lifting the heart, slight arch in the low back. Exhale, round it out, pull the chin in. Follow your breath. So, preface to a 20-volume suicide note. The only word I can think of is that sounds really heavy, right? 20 volumes of words that have been insinuated are not going to be super cheery. They're not going to be super lighthearted. And you might find, if you haven't moved in a while, that your body's feeling super heavy. And so we're going to make a correlation to our practice on the mat one more time. And then when you exhale and you're all rounded out, let's just slowly drop forward. I'm still keeping a slight bend in my knees. And see if that feels like you got just a little lower. And you can let the hips sway from side to side if you want to. You could straighten one leg, then the other. If you feel like you're not ready to be upside down yet, inhale, add in a monkey pose, exhale it back down. One more breath. And then just hang here for a second, really exaggerating the rounding out and the bending in the knees. And then we'll slowly roll our way up. You can use your hands to walk your way up the body. Let's pause with the head gaze still down. We don't need a head rush. And then slowly bring that head back up to center. Okay, widen out your stance. Yes, you've widened them before. All right, let's go ahead and bend into the legs here. So my toes are wider than my heels. I don't know. If you can get your thighs parallel to the ground, great. If you can't, I'm not worried about it, and you shouldn't be either. So here, drop one shoulder forward. You can come as low as you want to, and then back up. Dropping the other shoulder, and then back up. Keep going. So I want you to think about, before I start this poem off, I want you to think about those days that feel heavy, that feel like everything is coming in around you and there isn't space to move, there isn't space to breathe. And what do you typically do when that happens? Like, what's your go-to reaction, your go-to survival behavior? Yeah, one more time on each side. Perfect. All right, I'm still going to widen this out just a little bit more. Let's just kind of rock this back and forth. Take it easy. Don't lock out the knees. All right, I'm going to take my left foot, turn it more forward, and then come on the inner edge of that right foot. Just make sure the knee is facing the same direction as the toes. Whenever we do something like that, we shifted the foot. When the foot was open, this is easier because the knee is moving out with the foot. Once we make that change, the knee still needs to be going in the same direction as the foot. If you hate this, it's not worth it. Just go ahead and set the foot back the way it was. All right, just holding for a moment. Deepen a little bit. And then come back up, switching sides. So you decide what you want to do. If you like the knee moving forward, you find that interesting, fine. You hate it, just go ahead and open that foot up. It even can be all the way open like a warrior bee. It's up to you. Sink a little deeper. Inhale. Let it go. All right. Rotating the feet again so they're pigeon-toed. We're all going to look different, right? If you need to widen out even more, go ahead. If you might find you need to start bringing the feet in. We're just coming down into our wide angle fold. I'm going to back up a little bit so I don't run out of your view there. Take your time, make your way down. Wherever you end up is great. However you end up is great. You might want to rock this out. If your hands are supporting you, you might want to sink a little bit into the elbows and then re-straighten. So just play. So I think on those heavy days, we feel like either we don't want to move or we can't move. And so this poem starts off, lately I've become accustomed to the way the ground opens up and envelops me each time I go out to walk the dog. So the author, Amiri Baraka, is starting off with a very everyday life activity, right? Got to go out and walk the dog. But yet, even with something that should be enjoyable, maybe you could say it's a simple task, she feels like the earth is swallowing her up, right? Okay, walk the hands over to the left foot. Let's add a twist here. And then over to the right. And then come back to center, and just to stretch out the legs a little bit more, we're shifting this into Skandasana, transverse lunge. So that means I need one foot in. So I'm going to wiggle my right foot in towards me a little bit. And then come on down, right? Bend, bring your hips in towards that right heel. So if you're on the ball of that right foot, that's okay. It might be a little tough, in which case you could take your rolled up strap if you want to, and put it right underneath your heel or your block. If you're able to come all the way down onto the foot, go for it, because it's probably going to be a little bit more comfortable. The left foot, you either are on the heel and the toes are facing up, or if you find that you're more rotated forward because you're not on the right heel, you might find you need to get that foot down. It's up to you. Just being very cognizant of the left knee right now and figuring out what works for you, right? Okay, a couple of deep breaths. And then plant those hands so we can scooch this lunge over to the other side. Take your time. We're using this as our initial leg stretch, so be very non-judgmental with yourself. Focusing on the breath. Perfect. All right, make your way back to center. Wiggle the feet in towards each other. You guys are probably at the top of your mat, so I'm going to move. You're going to end up in a fold. Let's really bend the knees, though. Compassion. Inhale, monkey. Lengthen out the spine. Exhale, back down. And as you come down, you can bend the knees again. Walk backwards to downward facing dog. So in that first line of the poem, she says, lately I've become accustomed to. So that word accustomed, we know that this is not like a random thing. Something has happened and all of a sudden she's feeling overwhelmed. No, she's become accustomed to the earth enveloping her. So it sounds like it's been going on for a while, and it sounds like it's just become part of the daily routine. Have you ever felt like that, where, gosh, you just can't shake that feeling? Or maybe it's sadness, or maybe it's just this, you're in a funk, or it's you call it a blah mood, or maybe you outright say it's depression, whatever it is. Have you ever had that linger where you feel like you could say, I've become accustomed to? And how does that sit with you? All right, we're coming forward into plank. Chaturanga. And into Cobra, Bhujangasana. Let's hold Cobra for a moment. So I'm just going to inhale. I'm kind of pushing into my hands to just lift up a little bit. Exhale back down. I'm actually lifting the hips and the pelvic bone off of the ground just a little bit. If that doesn't feel good to you, don't do that. If you're down lower, then I would just make it about the arms. So it's kind of what your back feels like it needs. It might feels like it really needs a good arch right now. So remember, don't bring the shoulders up, keep them back. Strong inhale. Perfect. Take this to child's pose, Balasana, breathe it out. Okay, so she's become accustomed to the earth, just sucking her in. When she goes out every day to walk the dog. So replace walk the dog. Let's say you don't have a dog. Washing the dishes. Like all the little chores that start to become huge, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the laundry again, and that enveloping feels a little tighter, and then it's, I've got to vacuum again, and then it gets a little tighter, and then who's changing the sheets, and then it gets a little tighter, right? And I don't know, I think that word accustomed to, I want you to dwell upon that. Does that make you feel sad for her that that's where she's at, that that's where you're at? Does it make you feel like she/you have given up, that there is no hope? Like, what do you take from that? And then how do you move forward when that happens to you? All right, let's go ahead and walk the hands in, bring the knees in. Come on up onto your knees. I'm going to stretch out the back just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and hook the thumbs behind the hips. Lengthen. Stomach is in, hips are slightly forward. And then I'm just going to it's almost as though my thumbs are just gently pushing my hips forward a little more so that my shoulders can drop back. I'm barely going anywhere. And then I'm going to straighten out. And what we're doing is just kind of prepping to see what Ustrasana, camel pose, might feel like today. You might start to take the gaze up a little bit more. It's very subtle. One more. And then come all the way forward into cat, because now we want to round that out. All right, are you getting ready to move? Relax the spine, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Coming forward into plank, Chaturanga, into Cobra. Exhale it down, tuck the toes, push the plank, downward facing dog. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Sweep that foot forward between the hands, plant the back foot. So before you pop on up here, I just want to take the right forearm right to the right thigh. So it doesn't even have to go that far. And then sweep that left arm straight up to the ceiling. Inhale, reach. Exhale, drop that arm overhead. Inhale, reach. Exhale, overhead. This time as you bring that arm up, let it pull you up. Warrior bee. Nice. Reverse warrior. Cartwheel the hands to the earth. Plant that back foot, right leg, three-legged dog. Now, let's come forward into our one-legged plank. So that right leg drops, just doesn't touch. If you can't hold this, definitely put that leg down. If you can't hold plank, it's okay. No judgment on the mat. Drop the knees. All right. Chaturanga. Now drop that leg. Cobra. Release down. Tuck the toes. Plank into dog. Give me a deep inhale. Loud exhale. Left leg goes up. Three-legged. Sweep that foot forward between the hands. And then plant that back foot. Turn it on the inner edge. Left forearm on top of the left thigh. Take the right arm up. Big inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right arm reaches overhead. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, overhead. Inhale, warrior B. Reverse warrior. Cartwheel to the earth. Plant that back foot on the ball of the foot. Left leg to three-legged dog. One-legged plank. Chaturanga. Into Cobra. Nice. Come on down. Tuck the toes. Push the plank. Downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. We're going to walk the hands backwards, and you're going to find forward fold at the bottom of your mat. Relax right there. So, lately I've become accustomed to the way the ground opens up and envelops me. Each time I go out to walk the dog, or the broad-edged, silly music the wind makes when I run for the bus. Things have come to that. What do you suppose you mean, things have come to that? Is it about getting so behind in life that she's no longer on time? She's constantly running to keep up. Does it really have anything to do with the bus? And what is it about, what do you suppose she means, broad-edged, silly music the wind makes, moving past her ears as she's running? What is that all about? Then I come to monkey. Holding monkey, lengthen it out, lengthen the back of the neck. And then as you release, walking this forward, downward facing dog. All right, really planting the hands on the feet. Right hand reaches back for somewhere around the left ankle. So twisted dog. So when I think about that sentence, I think about how I can hear that wind running past my ears because I'm running. Go ahead, plant the right hand, come forward into plank. And to me, the sound of the wind makes me feel like I would be brought back to the present moment. So, curious what that means to you. Take this back to dog. Left hand reaching back for the right ankle. And maybe it does bring her back to the present. She says, you know, this is what it's come to. So she's aware, right? And I kind of feel like, no, not kind of, I do feel like being aware of what's going on with you is half of the answer. I mean, you are so far closer to resolving it than if you didn't have that acknowledgement. Come forward into plank. Move the feet closer to each other. Drop the heels to the right. Left arm up, Vasisthasana. Breathe. Release that left hand down. Chaturanga. Into Cobra, Bhujangasana. Let's hold this one again. Deep inhale. Loud sigh. I'm just going to lift my hips. Keep the legs kind of where they are. You don't have to take the knees wide, but push back towards child's pose. Round your way up into cat. Take it to cow. Tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Come forward into plank. Scooch the feet next to each other. Drop the heels to the left. Right arm up, side plank. On an exhale, bring the right hand back down. Chaturanga. Take it to Cobra. Hold it here. Smiling in Cobra, right? Feels good. Pull the hips back. Child's pose. Keep the legs where they are. We're rounding up into cat pose. And then relaxing into cow. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. And then from here, I'm just going to walk my feet about halfway. So you're somewhere in the middle of your mat. I don't want you to run out of room. Inhale, monkey. Exhale. Release, bend into the knees. So I'm going to plant my knees and shins on the mat. So they just came forward. And then I'm going to untuck my toes. Arms sweep back. Bend into the elbows. Lift the heart. When you're ready, push off with the hands. Take them all the way up. As the hands come to the heart, rise up onto your knees. You might want to block here. We're heading into camel. We'll kind of ease our way in. So if you don't have a block, don't worry about it. If you do, the block's going to be at its tallest height to the outside of the left ankle. And so really lengthening again, drawing the stomach in, hips forward. Remember, in camel, it's all about positioning of the thighs. So we do not tip back into the thighs to get back in camel. They're going to stay perpendicular to the floor. So that left hand's going to reach back to find the block. If you don't have a block, well, first of all, let me say if it's too high, obviously drop this down to a lower level. If you don't have a block and you find that reaching back for the heel is too far to go, hand right against the left side, hip sacrum, fingers facing up. And then the hand can just push forward. You can leave the right hand hanging right now, it's okay. We're just dropping that left shoulder back. So find what's right for you. Again, if you feel like the hips are pulling back and the thighs have come back with you, you need to push them forward. All right, come back to center. Sit back on the heels, take the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart, Anjali Mudra. Close your eyes, deep inhale. Cleansing exhale. Take the arms up. As the hands come back to the heart, rise up onto the knees. Drop the arms, decide what you need to do on the right side. If you need your prop over there, fine. Otherwise, remember, as you reach back, hips go forward to keep the thighs perpendicular to the floor. I'm going to find that heel, or I'm going to find my sacrum on the right side. And again, you can let the left arm hang if you want. Pull that right shoulder back. Nice. Come back to center. Sit back on the heels, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart, close your eyes. Hands stay here, inhale. Exhale, cleansing breath. And then dropping forward to find embryo. So the arms reach behind you, backs of the hands rest on the floor, forehead to the earth or to a prop. And then plant the hands. Slowly push your way back up. You're sitting on the heels. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Rise onto the knees. Inhale both arms all the way up. Now, here's where you're going to make a decision. You can slowly bring both arms down to reach behind you to come in. I like to find one heel first. To come into full camel. Thighs are still pushing forward. Or you can sweep the hands behind you. Both of them are going to rest against the low back and the sacrum. Fingers facing up and then push against the sacrum so you can get that beautiful heart opening back bend. Inhale wherever you're at. Exhale, slowly come to center. And take it all the way down into embryo. All right, let's put some of this together. Plant the hands, push your way up. I'm just going to pop on up on feet from here. Make your way to the top of your mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, monkey. Exhale it down. Roll your way up. Take the arms all the way up. Exhale them to your heart. Deep breath in. Loud exhale. Inhale here. Exhale, turn the fingers down towards the earth. They'll pull you all the way down into your fold, finding monkey. When you're ready, bend into the knees, step or jump back to plank. Take your vinyasa. Right leg lifts behind you, three-legged dog. Sweep that foot forward, turn on the inner edge of the back foot, warrior bee. Extended side angle, left arm is reaching over. Inhale that arm up, exhale it overhead. Inhale up, exhale, reach overhead, and then pull yourself back. Virabhadrasana bee, reverse warrior. Cartwheel the hands to the earth, pivot on that back foot, front leg is going. You got it. 2, three-legged dog. Nice. Come forward into your one-legged plank. If it's okay with your body, one-legged chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale it down. Tuck the toes. Push up the plank. Downward facing dog. Left leg up behind you, three-legged. That foot's coming forward between the hands. Pivot on that back foot. Warrior bee. Extended side angle, left arm rests. Reach that right arm up to the ceiling and then overhead. Inhale it up. Exhale, it reaches overhead. Inhale, warrior bee. Reverse warrior. Cartwheel the hands to the earth, pivot on the back foot. Three-legged dog, left leg up. One-legged plank. One-legged chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale it down. Tuck the toes. Push up the plank. Downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Loud exhale. Lift the heels way up high. Let's start to lower the legs. We can plant the knees and the shins. Untuck the toes. Sit back onto the heels. Reach the arms forward. Child's pose. Inhale. Exhale, slide the hands back while you rise to sit on your heels. Inhale the arms. Exhale to the heart, rise up onto the knees. Drop the arms. Inhale them back up. Exhale, they're coming down in front of you. They're going to reach behind you for your variation of Camel Ustrasana. Remember, if you are bringing the hands behind the sacrum, you really need to rotate the shoulders to come down and then pull the shoulder blades in. We want the elbows to come closer towards each other. Inhale, exhale, slowly make your way up. Come on down into embryo. Replant the hands. Rise straight up into cat pose. Take it to cow, tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Send that right leg up behind you, three-legged dog. Sweep that foot forward between the hands. Now right hand comes to the inside of the right foot. Walk your hands to your left. Pigeon toe the feet. We started out here, remember? Wide angle fold. Plant the hands. You're turning to the back of your mat. So my hands are walking to my left. I'm going to pivot to the back of the mat. Don't worry. I'm not going to say anything you haven't done already. Left foot is going up behind you, three-legged dog. Nice. Release that foot down into dog. Big inhale. Exhale. Come forward into plank. Take your vinyasa. Another deep breath. And let it go. Come forward into plank. Step the feet right next to each other. Heels are dropping to the left. Right hand up. Side plank. Now, if you want to add something here, you can lift the right leg off of the left leg. Big inhale. Exhale, everything lowers. Back to plank. We're flipping this to the other side, so heels are dropping to the right. Left arm up, and if you want to lift the top leg, you can. Big inhale. Exhale. Come back to plank. Set the knees down. Take it to embryo. Nice job. Rest right there for a moment. Let me give you the next line of the poem. All right, so we left off. She hears the music that the wind makes when she's running for the bus, and she says, things have come to that. And now, each night, I count the stars. And each night, I get the same number. And when they will not come to be counted, I count the holes they leave. I count the holes they leave. And she says, nobody sings anymore. So think about that. Let's not literally think she's counting stars. I kind of see stars as hopeful. They're like wishes. Those are the happy things. So she's counting perhaps the good things that go on. But there's never more good. It's always the same number. And we don't know if it's 1 or if it's 10. And when she can't find those things to count, she counts the holes, the empty spaces. And nobody sings anymore. We're rising up into table. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. All right, I'm going to move my feet a little bit closer to each other. They're probably about an inch apart. And then I'm going to take the right foot. I'm stepping it forward, but not all the way to my hands. Probably about 3 feet from the back foot, so that I can now pull my hips backwards. We're ending up in pyramid. So try to have all 10 toes facing the front edge of your mat. If you cannot straighten out one or both legs, don't worry about it, but you might then want your blocks to lift you up a little bit. What we do want to remember here is whichever leg is forward, that's the hip you pull back. Okay? Pulling back that right hip. And then you can see if there's a fold here for you. And then, I don't know, let's have a little fun. Let's see about getting from pyramid to kicking off to Ardha Chandrasana, which is one of my favorite poses, that and triangle. So all I want to do is come out of this fold, bend into my front knee, move the right hand forward. And then as I kick off of that back foot, let's open up that left hip automatically. And maybe you get the left hand to rest on the hip. Nice. So slowly bend into the right leg. Let's set the left hand down. Let's replant the left foot. Pull the hips back. You'll be in pyramid again. And then downward facing dog. Walk it out. Deep inhale. Loud breath. Left foot is stepping forward about 3 feet. The hands will walk back so you can pull the hips back into pyramid. Remember, toes are all facing forward. Left foot's forward, so it's the left hip that's going to pull back. You'll feel the right hip automatically move forward when you do that. And then just start to play and see if you have room to fold and deepen. And then let's just pop up into Ardha Chandrasana. So bend into the front leg, left hand moves forward, kick off, open up the right hip on your way. Nice. Come on down, set that right foot down behind you, come back to pyramid. Downward facing dog. Drop the knees and come back to embryo. From here, we're going to gently push our way back up to sit on the heels, and then you can pop off of the feet. Yeah. So let's just come to a cross-legged seated pose. Hands resting on the knees, lengthening. Close your eyes. And just kind of being aware of the sensations, letting all that upside downedness. That was a lot of dogs and, hanging upside down. So just kind of, let everything come back to equilibrium. And just stay right there, present with your breath. We left off where she says, nobody sings anymore. And then last night, I tiptoed up to my daughter's room. And I heard her talking to someone. And when I opened the door, there was no one there. Only she on her knees, peeking into her own clasped hands. I want you to think about this. I want you to keep your eyes closed, but drop your chin so your gaze would be downward. And then I want you to bring your hands to your heart, but not in prayer pose. I want you to have the outer edges where the pinkies are pushed together. And then the other fingers kind of fall open as though your hands were a bowl. Now, gently open your eyes to look at your hands. I just want you to look at all the space that your hands seem to be holding. And just picture this little girl. She's peeking into her clasped hands. So let's bring the hands closer, a little bit closer. She's peeking in there and she's talking. And who or what do you suppose she is talking to? So you guys know that I believe that we all have our own answers within. Obviously, I acknowledge not easy to get to those answers a lot of the time, but they're there. And can you just picture this little girl? She's talking into her hands because perhaps that's where the answers are. And where they come from? Well, take your hands and lay them across your heart. And close your eyes, take a deep inhale, and let it go. And there's one more thing I want to say about this poem. Remember, it's called Preface to a 20-volume suicide note. Preface. Okay, so that implies there's more to come, right? A preface in a book is before the story even starts. It's going to give you a hint as to what the story's about and what's to come. But remember, the story hasn't even started. And isn't it possible that we do not know what comes next? And so I see this poem more as an inspiration to remember that when you're feeling like the earth has sucked you in and you're accustomed to it now and nothing's been changing, you just aren't at that place yet where the answer pops forward and pulls you along, right? The preface does not mean that this is the way it turns out. It is simply alluding to a whole bunch of pages that we have not read yet. Let's go ahead and come on down onto our backs, hug those knees in tight. And then go ahead and stretch that left leg out onto the mat. We're going to take the right leg up to the ceiling. You keep the right hand behind the right thigh. We're going to lift the head and shoulders. The left hand is going to slide up the leg and over, it's crossing over the front of the shin to reach to the outside of the right ankle. If you want to, if you can reach your foot, you can grab onto your foot as well. So push the back of the left thigh down, flex the left foot, lift the torso, lift the heart. If you want to pull this leg in closer, you can, but you don't have to. It could be more about using the leg to lift the heart higher. You're not holding the breath, right? Big inhale. Exhale. As you release the upper body and head, rebend the right leg, hug it in. Left hand on the right knee, it's going to pull that leg across you into your supine twist. Leave the right arm reaching down behind your back. And then slowly bring that knee back to center. Stretch the right leg out on the earth. Hug the left knee in. And then straighten the left leg up to the ceiling. Left hand stays behind the left thigh. Lift the head and shoulders. Right hand slides up the front of the leg and comes across to the outside. Push the right thigh down, flex that foot. And again, if you want to grab the bottom of the left foot, you can. And then a little lift here. Keep breathing. On an exhale, slowly release, bend that leg. Right hand on top of the left knee. It's going to pull that knee across into your twist. Left arm reaching down behind you. And when you get to an exhale, release the twist. Go ahead and straighten out that left leg. Deep breath in through the nose. Loud sigh. If there's anything nearby that you want for Shavasana, go ahead and grab it. Give you a moment to get settled. When your body feels extremely comfortable, and close your eyes. And then I just want you to picture this big volume, this big book in front of you with your eyes closed. And you can make the cover whatever color you want it to be. It can look like whatever you want. It can have a design, it can be plain. This book is thick. I'm talking like 4 inches thick. And go ahead and just see yourself placing your hands on top of that book. There's no title. It doesn't say anything. Aren't you curious? So go ahead and just open the cover. You're going to find that there's a blank page next. And then go ahead and turn that blank page. And what it says on the next page is the title of the book. It says, The Life of, and then, what a coincidence, there's your name. And so you turn to the next page, and there's the preface. And the preface says something like, this book is a detailed remembrance of your life. It started when you were born. And you may notice when you flip through the pages that many are still blank. Why is that? It's because we don't know. We don't know what's coming. And so perhaps you might use this as a guided meditation tool that when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when the earth is just rising up to envelop you and suck you down under, does it bring you any hope to think about, well, we don't know the chapters that come next. We don't know the pages that come next. And allow that to just be inspiring to you, that you know at some point your inner answers are going to pour forth in words on those pages. Everything is going to work out as it should, as will your Shavasana. I'll see you on the other side. Begin to take your focus to your breath. And as you deepen your breath, will you add a soft smile to your face? Breathing in hope, letting go. Taking your hands to rest on your heart, knowing that all of your answers lie somewhere just beneath that. And then big inhale, reach the arms way overhead, stretch. When you're ready to exhale, bring the palms together and release them to your heart in Anjali Mudra. The light in me bows to the light in you. When I'm in that place in me and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste.